I am joined by Robert Griffin III, James White, Field Yates, Mina Kimes.
All right, so first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Taylor Kyles here for CLNS Media, back with another episode of the Patriots Daily Podcast, powered by Prize Picks and Game Time. We'll talk about them in a little while, but Taylor, we're back today live, noontime edition of the pod to break down Drake Maye's performance in London against the Jaguars, a game that the Patriots lost 32-16, and frankly, a lot more negatives than positives came out of it. Yesterday's big storyline, a soft football team, Mayo's talking too much, players calling each other out. There's all that garbage around the team, and I get it. They're 1-6, and you know that's you got to play the hits sometimes. And realistically, there is more bad than good around this team right now. But the other main point that everybody loves about this team, and we talk about it a lot, is that Drake Maye is really freaking good. He played really well again last week, and it looks like this team has a quarterback. And when you rebuild and when you start from the ground floor and start from scratch, that's usually the most important thing. Is finding that quarterback and obviously coaching and pieces around them. You know, I get all that, and we get all that. Justin Herbert, really one of the better quarterbacks in football, sometimes doesn't have the pieces around him in LA, and you see that they kind of go up and down. But you have the quarterback here, and I think that is the main thing. So what we're going to do here, Taylor, is break down the Patriots' 3 scoring drives from Sunday, as well as some areas of improvement for Drake Maye. Because, yes, he's through 2 starts. He improved on the turnovers. 3 turnovers against Houston, 0 on Sunday against Jacksonville. So he's getting better, but there are still areas where he can improve. So high-level stuff. Drake Maye goes 26 of 37, completing 70.3% of his throws for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Jacksonville defense. Like I mentioned, no interceptions, no fumbles. Kept it clean on that front, but the Patriots only score 16 points. So like I said, let's go through the 3 drives. Drive number one, 11 plays, 68 yards, and the check down touchdown to JaMycal Hasty. Maye goes 6 of 7 for 62 yards and a score on the drive. Taylor, break it down a little bit more deeper for us.
Yeah, so this whole performance was kind of the opposite of what we predicted, right? We thought the Patriots were going to run it up. The score prediction was almost what we thought it was going to be. Patriots versus Jaguars, just flipped. But the beginning of the game was when you really started to see like what you wanted to see from Drake Maye. They preached the fast starts. Drake Maye scored against the defense on a fast start during practice. So that part was at least good. Obviously, you want to build on it, stretch it out for a whole game. But this first drive especially was very impressive from Drake Maye. So just if you've been in the film room, you know, typically I'll try to do the play diagrams and show you all the X's and O's stuff. Because we're breaking down the entire drive and I am just one person, I couldn't quite do all of that. But we are going to have, as you can see, the titles over top. So you guys have an idea of what's going to happen on the play. And then as it goes through, I'll highlight all the most important things to know. So let's dive into it. All right. This is going to be the scramble off play action from Drake Maye. You're going to get a look from the Patriots condensed. This is the kind of look where you're probably expecting to see some type of zone run. Here, the Patriots are going to fake an inside zone run by having Hunter Henry go across the formation, make it look like split flow, but really it's just going to be a straight drop back off of that inside zone fake. So we're going to see that here from Drake Maye. Hunter Henry go across to make it look like inside zone, but it's not. Now he steps up a couple times because this is one of those plays where you hit the back foot, hitch up a couple times because they're deeper developing routes. Now, Drake Maye's got a rusher down on him already. Josh Hines-Allen is bearing down after he just beat Demontre Jacobs. But even worse, for some reason, you have Kayshon Boutte and Kendrick Bourne in the exact same area. They're already covered by their individual defenders pretty well, but it's not smart to throw into this window because for some reason, I don't know what it is, you have guys in the same space. Not sure who this is on necessarily, but Drake Maye makes a smart decision, says, I'm not throwing into a nasty window. Not a huge gain, but he does avoid not only a sack, but a potentially bad throw. Now, a couple plays later, you have the 3rd down crossing route to Demario Douglas. This is one where we know Drake Maye and Pop kept trying to connect on this or 2 weeks ago. Didn't work in the beginning of the game for the most part due to errant throws, just flat out misses, even the interception. But Drake Maye started taking steps in the right direction with these crossing routes, even though Polk obviously didn't play in a lot of the game due to what we found out was food poisoning. So Pop's going to come in motion right here. We're going to get a high-low from him and Kayshon Boutte over the top. Now, Drake Maye sees that this underneath defender, despite the man coverage, this guy's watching the quarterback. If Drake Maye threw this quickly, he'd be throwing right to the defender. He's smart. He understands he needs to wait another tick for Demario Douglas to cross that middle linebacker, sees it, throws. Not a perfect throw. Now, you see how Demario Douglas kind of has to go to his back shoulder to grab this, as opposed to his front shoulder, where he probably could have caught this and continued to run upfield. So not a perfect play there from Drake Maye, but it is a first down on third down to keep the drive alive. Now, this one, another throw that wasn't perfect for Maye, but this one should have been caught. A corner out to poke off a play action bootleg where the Patriots are going to simulate an outside zone fake. So you have Kendrick Bourne coming into motion. Usually when you see this kind of shift, it's either usually some kind of toss, right? Where you're thinking, okay, this guy's probably going to crack down because he's looking down at the edge defender. But that's not what it's going to be. He's actually going to get in that position so he can get underneath on a submarine or slide route under the formation. Drake Maye on a bootleg. One of the things you love about Drake Maye is that you aren't confined to the underneath routes or even just the intermediate routes with him like you were with Jacoby Brissett, with Bailey Zappi, with Mac Jones. Instead, he can go for the deepest route ball on the move. You're going to see that here. Another example of weird spacing.
Bad spacing again, Taylor.
I think this one might be on Polk, to be honest, because I've noticed that a few times. I'm not sure where exactly he's in the wrong here, but the fact that Hunter Henry is a veteran, he's made his mistakes too. You typically expect he's going to be in the right place. And sometimes when you see these more clear out type patterns from Jalen Polk, it seems like he's either not running them quite fast enough, or maybe there's extra steps involved. Maybe that's got something to do with it here. But either way, Drake Maye sees enough of a window that he's going to let this one rip to Polk. It's actually still on the receiver. Now, kind of like that last time, and I know we talked about this before the show.
Yeah.
If he leads him, this is an easier throw where maybe even Jalen Polk can get some yards after the catch, right? You put it on this upfield shoulder, he catches it, maybe turns upfield if he doesn't get tackled, but has to go to that back shoulder to make the grab. Should still catch it, considering Jalen Polk is the guy with the strong hands, best hands in the league, according to him. Isn't able to make the grab.
You can see it a little bit better in the end zone angle too. I know you don't have it here, but I tweeted a little while ago where if he just puts it out in front of him, and it's nitpicky, right? It still hits Polk in the hands. He has to come down with it. His hands are the bigger issue here than Drake Maye's errant throw because he still gets his hands on the football. But if he puts that out a little bit more in space, it's an easier catch for Polk. He can catch and run it a little bit too. And so you kind of saw that in the play before where he puts it behind Pop. Now Pop comes down with it and still is able to run, but still some accuracy issues here with Drake Maye. And the other thing, we talked about it, but the spacing, 2 out of 3 plays where 2 guys in pretty much the same area, that's on the OC. That's on the not the system itself, but that's on the OC and the players to make sure you get that hunger down in the future. And then you can end up having more open guys and make a better throw.
Yeah, and this wasn't an issue that I saw throughout the game, I will say. Right. This is all on the opening drive.
Yep.
But yeah, again, still very odd that happened twice on the same drive. I also just want to get rid of this banner just to make sure we're not missing anything on the bottom of the screen real quick. All right, there we go.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
All right, now, the thing with Drake Maye is on the same drive, you can get some misses, some inaccurate throws that are still catchable, whatever, some wild misses, but then you're also going to get plays like this. The out routes to Hunter Henry were really impressive in this game. I think they ran this play at least 2 times on these flood concepts where you're basically going to have these 2 outside most receivers pretend like they're running a post wheel. So you're going to get a post pattern from here. You're going to get a wheel, basically just clear this area out. Then you're going to have the running back switch sides and go to the flat with Hunter Henry trying to find space between the defenders against zone coverage. So again, you're going to see Michael Hasty out in the flat here, either Ramondre or Michael Hasty. So I want you to look at this defender that I have highlighted because this is what's going to make the play work. He's going to see this swing action and say, oh, it's probably going to be a quick throw to the flat. You see him bite down. Yep. That's going to open some space for Hunter Henry at the second level. Drake Maye starts throwing this. As you can see, hands are off the ball before Hunter Henry's actually gotten out of his break. Little anticipation there from the rookie. Nice throw. Hunter Henry's able to catch it, get a little bit after that. Doesn't go down after contact. Now, this sack was kind of tough. It's a borderline bang-bang play, but one had a tail that I think Drake Maye used on the next play to actually score to Michael Hasty, but also one where I feel like he could have gotten a positive gain out of this potentially had he maybe had a little bit more awareness of the pocket. Very nitpicky, though, I will say. So Hunter Henry, quick motion, no one goes with him. You know it's probably going to be some form of zone coverage. Or is it? It's actually man, because in the modern NFL, it's very difficult to tell man versus zone just on these pre-snap tells. What I'm guessing happened was this safety was originally responsible for Hunter Henry. Now they flipped responsibilities. So we're going to get Quick play fake. Now, what they want to do is make this look like an RPO, right?
Yep.
You see Kayshon Boutte coming back. Hunter Henry makes it look like he's going to block. What they're actually doing is trying to sell this, maybe have this safety bite up, and then Hunter Henry's able to win downfield. Fortunately, that's not going to work because the defender actually does a good job staying on top of Hunter Henry's route. Now, what's going to happen here is Drake Maye tries to get out through the left side. And also, JaMychal Hasty ends up wide open because I think one of the guys, at least who was supposed to defend him, ends up blitzing. Both linebackers end up blitzing the quarterback. Now you have JaMychal Hasty open, and you also have a lane right here. But for some reason, Drake Maye decides to go left and pretty much runs into pressure. I understand wanting to make a play because the original was shut down and it might have taken a while to get to the right side. But still, that entire left side is kind of dead. I'd like him to understand I've got more space to the right and a receiver releasing that way underneath. This time it was Ramondre Stevenson. I'm sorry if I said it was Hasty. But yeah, it's, again, so nitpicky. Like right here, you got him releasing out into the underneath area. I understand right here this might look open, but then you got the looper.
And the hard part is the concept is to the left, the whole concept, right? It's the fake screen into the go route. And so he's only really focusing on the left side. So he's not going to come back right and see that other rush lane, which makes it tough too.
And the only reason he would come right again is knowing that, okay, that's dead, but I do have at least
this is my outlet, right?
An outlet receiver. So he should go right, but ends up going left.
Yep.
Devin Lloyd ultimately brings him down. So this sets up a 3rd and 10. And these are the situations where typically with the Patriots, you're like, all right, dead in the water, just try not to lose yardage.
Screen, hand it off, kick the field goal.
Exactly. Live to fight another down. That's not what's going to happen here because Drake Maye is going to see on this play, once again, you get 2 blitzers from this side. He's going to see that the only defender now before the play, really the only guys who could have been responsible for Hasty in terms of guys that you would be afraid of are these 2 defenders that are pretty much the overhang on top of him. You're thinking maybe one of these guys is going to blitz and the other one covers, but because both of them rush, Drake Maye is going to identify that. And then I don't know if he sees this, but for whatever reason, Josh Hines Allen, who started on the opposite edge, ends up going all the way to the other side of the field to cover JaMychal Hasty. Terrible scheme and execution. Hasty makes the edge defender miss, then makes a safety miss, and then gets into the touchdown and gets into the end zone for a touchdown on a really impressive effort for him. So that drive, not perfect, obviously, especially when you talk about the ball placement, but Drake Maye's ability to move the chains on 3rd downs, especially a long 3rd down in the red zone in a situation that you never want to be in. We've seen them stall out in those situations before. Really, the things you like to see from Drake Maye.
Yeah, great play. That last play, too, where he's very calm, cool, and collected there, right? He reads the blitz. He sees it coming. He doesn't panic. He knows his outlet's there. Hasty fills in for the blitz guy out there. There's nobody covering him except for, like you said, Helen on the other side. Makes an easy throw for a touchdown, and then Hasty does the rest. A great play by him as well. Patriots get in the end zone early, make it 7-0. They talked about starting fast. They did so. They do so on the next drive, too. A 12-play, 63-yard drive that ultimately ends up in a field goal. Maye looks pretty good on this drive as well. So, Taylor, go for it. Let's break down drive number 2.
Yeah, and this was also a drive where you did see some of the things that really do worry you about Drake Maye, and they did miss an opportunity to go up 14 instead of 10, but still plenty of positives here from Drake Maye. Now, I'm just going to run this one through real quick because I felt like I had to show it. One of his first throws of the drive is a high miss. Now, I do also...
Nice catch from Jacoby Brissett on the sideline there.
It was a nice catch from Jacoby Brissett. Look at this. You can't really see because of the stream
You
yard.
can see it from the end zone angle. You can see it a little bit better, but...
Nice grab from Jacoby. Yeah. But here, you're going to have a 3rd down. The exact yardage is a 3rd and 4 right here. Patriots, manageable situation, but you got to convert. You're going to get the bunch up top, single receiver to the bottom. Now, Drake Maye, as he steps up to try to hit his receiver, sees that this sit route is not going to be available to him. Then he tries to look, okay, I'm going to move on to the shallow crosser. That's also got a defender sitting right on top of it. I also like that he went through his progression quickly because he also saw that this defender had leverage on the outbreaking route from Kayshon Boutte, knew that was going to be a dead play. And you've got Layden Robinson not only getting pushed back, but for some reason, he tries to pancake, I think it's Eric Armstead here or his defender, to the ground, but right where Drake Maye is standing. Mm-hmm. Not a great idea. I love a pancake. I don't like it when you're doing it right by the quarterback's legs, but Drake Maye does a good job knowing he has no options, slipping out of that potential sack, making another rusher miss, so he's out in space for an explosive run on 3rd down to move the chains. a little silly from him. It's about as much as we've seen from Drake Maye so far, but I kind of liked it. I was like, oh, okay, a little swagger.
Here's the ball. Yep.
Exactly. Another anticipatory out throw on another flood concept from Drake Maye to Hunter Henry. I think this is literally the exact same concept, but you're going to see a little extra from Drake Maye here. So once again, you're going to have the fast motion to the flat. Look how Drake Maye's body language makes it seem like he is going to throw to the flat and influence these defenders right here. So again, Drake Maye makes it look like he might actually throw there. And then you see these defenders both go downhill to respect it. He's actually going to end up throwing to Hunter Henry, knowing that he's open because these guys have created this void. Puts nice touch on the ball.
Another anticipation throw too to him.
And between, yes, and the anticipation between those defenders. Another really pretty anticipatory pass from Drake Maye, showing the touch to be able to put it between defenders and beat that zone coverage. I know the broadcasting before the game was saying, oh, Drake Maye carved up man last week. Maybe the Jags will play more zone and that'll slow him down. That didn't work. I think he had 113 passer rating against zone coverages. Now, this is the second week in a row we've seen Drake Maye scramble and Hunter Henry and him being on the same page and buying time. I really love the sync that they showed on this drop back. So this is really more of a quicker concept. We see this high-low from them every single week, right? Mm-hmm. But usually it's against off coverage where this receiver is kind of running into space with the safety maybe bearing down. But here there's press coverage. So Drake Maye sees this, sees the underneath receiver covered and says, you know what? I'm going to move on. So then he's going to look right, but see, hey, this receiver is also covered, and I don't really know if I'm going to have this down the sideline because I've got the safety out here. Could he hit the outlet? Maybe, but I think he also understands that he's got this wide open area. Instead of just going for the check down, he's going to use that to buy a little bit more time. And Hunter Henry shows great chemistry with Maye because as he breaks outside, Hunter Henry is going to go the opposite way. Like we heard them say, usually when you scramble, you want to go the same direction as the quarterback because those cross body throws can be tough for guys. But Drake doesn't have an issue with them. So as you're going to see, Drake scrambles right, Henry goes left, gets himself open. And it's not really a crossbody throw, but still being able to go opposite where the coverage wants to go because a zone defender looking at the quarterback's naturally going to flow to where he's going.
Right.
Hunter Henry wisely goes opposite, gets the first down. Big conversion there for New England.
A very, very, very quick chemistry build between Maye and Henry so far over the last 2 weeks. They know he knows where he's going to be at the right time. He has confidence in throwing the football up with a defender on his ass, basically. And we'll probably see that later on in the film breakdown, that deep throw down the seam, but they've built it pretty quickly. That's pretty impressive from both of them.
And this is the kind of thing I always hope to see from Hunter Henry. Like we all know he's the security blanket, but I feel like the lackluster QB play that he's had most of the time that he's been in New England hasn't allowed people to realize like he can be a downfield threat. He can make big plays. Is he going to do it in the conventional ways that maybe a Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews does? Not necessarily. But like you said, we'll get to it later. He's still a big play threat because he has good hands, because he understands how to uncover and how to play defenders. So yeah, Hunter Henry obviously had the penalty that you didn't love, the second really bad critical moment penalty in 3 weeks. But overall, he's a really big, not addition, but a big piece to this offense, especially with the rookie quarterback. Now, this play is one that both Drake Maye and Kendrick Bourne share responsibility for.
Yep.
Kind of reminded me, honestly, of I think it was like that 3rd and 15 or something against the Eagles in the opener last year, where Maye threw it. I mean,
Mac.
Damn it. Where Mac threw, it was a better ball. That was a seed to beat coverage. And then you see that KB tries to get the ball and doesn't. Afterwards, he says, that's when I got to catch. It's kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But all right, here we go. So, little motion from Pop. It's like, I'm not going across the field. I'm going to the flat. Now, this actually creates a miscommunication because you're going to see let me touch on this first, before I get into the play. This was a weird choice from the Jaguars because they're in man coverage here. Mm-hmm. This is Devin Lloyd as the number 3 against Demario Douglas with a corner against Hunter Henry. Now, this is what I would consider very poorly coached defense. So with the Patriots, you see teams like these are coverage indicators, but also they can create this weird kind of confusion with defenses aren't coached very well. So you have a really weird mismatch where you have a linebacker against a slot wide receiver, and then you have a cornerback against a tight end. You don't want that matchup most of the time. So with Pop going in this motion, it's actually going to affect the defender so that you end up with a bracket over here, and then the safety takes Hunter Henry. What that's going to do is open up space because Maye knows, okay, if the safety, who might have been a robber pre-snap, has Henry, and both of these guys are looking at Pop, probably not going to be anybody defending the middle of the field on this dig to Kendrick Bourne. So we also were going to see that City So, that was the big part of this play. He immediately lost to Eric Armstead because he tried to punch and missed. So Drake has pressure bearing down on him. Usually still does a pretty good job in these situations, but here it's just going to affect the throw. Nice,
he's not able to set his feet right.
Spot. Kendrick Bourne gets open. Like, his defender not only like has separation, but he also slips, make the throw, and you actually have Pop open because he pretended like he was going to the flat and then took off deep. No way to really know if he would have been this wide open because this defender sees Drake Maye and goes over to Kendrick Bourne. But also, you had two options here. Nothing wrong with Drake Maye not throwing to Pop because he'd already let it go. But an unfortunate play where you missed the opportunity and you even had Pop potentially open for a touchdown. But again,
do you have the end zone angle of that too? Oh, you do? Yeah. Okay, cool.
There we go. Yes, sir. All right, so I'm going to slow it down also. So get the snap. You can see City So go for the punch. Eric Armstead's been in the league for a long time. Double swipe, easily beats it, gets under the block. He's bearing down. So Drake Maye tries to throw this. The ball hits Kendrick Bourne in the hands.
Yep.
I understand it's not perfect, but that's one you should probably catch.
It's not great. And on the flipped, I know that you don't have NFL Pro. I do have NFL Pro, so it's the opposite angle. I think you watch film from a different program, and so you can see that it's a little bit of a wobbler out of Maye's hands because when Armstead is at his feet, he's not able to actually set himself, and he's opened up wide. So the ball comes out a little shaky, and you see it dip down quick right there. He still gets his hands on it. It's still a catchable ball.
Yeah. So unfortunately, again, this
Maye took. No, you're good. Maye took responsibility of this as well and said it to WEEI in his interview yesterday. He said he made one missed throw there that could make it 14-0. He said, I missed KB. We had a chance on that one. So obviously good that the quarterback takes responsibility. I do think they definitely share it where Maye's not able to set his feet because that defender's at his legs, but KB gets his hands on it. Ultimately, when it hits you in the hands, wide receivers say, we're going to make that catch. Anything else on there?
No, that was pretty much it. But my summary of that drive again, you saw the high miss, like the wonky stuff where you're just like, Drake, I don't really know what you were trying to do there. But you also saw the mobility come into play twice. You were able to see him move a defender like we saw on the Kayshon Boutte high-low last week or 2 weeks ago, where he was able to use a really quick little shrug and body language to get a defender to bite and open up a downfield passing lane. And that's really what the Drake Maye experience is. It's going to be up and down, but he still showed you a lot of good things. And that was especially true on this fourth quarter drive when the Patriots obviously really needed to get back in the game. So I'm just going to throw that up.
Before we get to it, let's talk about our friends at Prize Picks. Got to pay the bills here, Taylor, as we do. That's all good. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you got to do is pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your money. And the Boston Celtics are back tonight at the TD Garden. So basketball Prize Picks are back, and we will have a lineup up on CLNS, on the Celtics channels, on my channel as well. It's Celtics versus Knicks tonight. And you can also pair your lineup with a free Anthony Edwards square. All he has to do is score more than a half a point, and he adds a free square to your lineup. So make sure you check it out. Again, Celtics versus Knicks tonight in the opener. Celtics raising the banner. So if you want to play with us on Prize Picks, make sure you go do so. And you do it by downloading the app today and using code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. We're also, Taylor, powered by Game Time. And let's actually do a live look at the TD Garden and see what the price is for a ticket for the Celtics opener this evening. But as we do that, Game Time is hold on, sorry. Yep, we're good. There it is to make sure the video is playing. Game Time is the best, and it's the exclusive ticketing partner of the CLNS Media Network. And yeah, okay, it's expensive. It's banner night, but right now, you can get into TD Garden for as little as $334 on Game Time. That's a lot, but if you get to what Taylor's reaction to that is priceless.
I was like, oh, maybe me and Liz should go. No.
Well, we're comparing the game time tickets with we're doing the Patriots reads on here all the time, and it's like 70, $80, go do it. But the Celtics are the champs, and they're hanging the banner tonight, so it's pretty expensive, $334. But if you're a massive Celtics fan and you're into it, do it through the Game Time app. If you want to go next Monday, Bucks at Celtics at the Garden, it's as little as $76 on the Game Time app. So prices are higher because of banner night, but you can still get the best seats with the Game Time Picks feature that filters out the fluff and shows you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Taylor?
Game time.
It's game time. And what else? What other time it is? It's time to break down Drake Maye's third scoring drive with the Patriots from Sunday in London. It's a 9-play, 94-yard touchdown drive that ends with a seed to KJ Osborne. We'll get to all of it. But Taylor, break it down from start to finish. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I kind of sped forward in this drive. All of these I skipped like screens, runs. Yeah, obviously.
I didn't mean to say start to finish, but break it down.
Yeah,
as best
I just want to make sure people know that it didn't start down.
Yeah.
But really, I also want to note that because this drive was actually a 94-yard drive that they put the ball in the end zone in less than 3 minutes, 2 minutes and 48 seconds. The first two were quick hitters from Drake Maye to his tight ends just to get them some breathing room. I really love to see that from the young pup. They were also quick concepts, but still, get the ball out of your hand, throw it accurately, put your guys in positions where they can get some yardage. Then there was a run, and Kayshon Boutte drew a defensive pass interference call on a poor throw from Drake Maye, where once again he threw behind his receiver. This time it was on an in-breaking route. But again, you see the poise and the resilience from Drake Maye, where he doesn't get discouraged even in drive by his own mistakes. And when you give him too many opportunities, it's kind of like what you say about all the great quarterbacks, right? You didn't feel this way with Mac. You didn't feel this way with Bailey. You didn't really feel this way with Jacoby either. But Drake is absolutely one of those players where if he makes a mistake and you don't capitalize, like you don't pick the ball off, or, you allow them to still keep themselves on schedule, you're kind of screwing yourself. So again, this is after a play where they really tried to get the ball to Boutte. They got the flag, but still wasn't a great throw from Maye. And then he's able to bounce back with an absolute beauty down the field. Let me take this dang banner off. My bad, y'all.
Sorry. No, that's
you're
my
good.
fault too.
All right, so Drake Maye gets a snap, drops back. Now, we're going to be looking at this defender here because, as you can see, the Jaguars are in cover 2, but it's not regular, it's inverted. So you have this, what looked like a middle field safety, going out to cover that deep half. You have this corner covering this deep half, and you're going to have this defender trying to cover the middle of the field. But what I think Drake Maye notices is this defender doesn't get enough depth to be a concern down the field. So you're going to see he's squatting on this. I think what he's expecting is for this to be a dagger concept at the sticks, where you have Hunter Henry just clearing out and then this receiver or another receiver going underneath. He's not totally wrong because you do have an underneath from this receiver here, but one, he kind of jumps it a little bit early because as you can see, the dagger doesn't come for another couple steps, but with this defender pretty much out of the play, Drake sees, all right, you have one defender with his back turned trying to cover Hunter Henry up the seam. And this is one of those plays you're like, Drake Maye is built different because not a lot of quarterbacks are actually going to capitalize on these opportunities when you have a defender with his back turned and your receiver who you trust in one-on-one situations or to make contested catches to just make a play. Drake sees it and is like, you know what? I'm letting this thing rip because my guy is steaming down the seam with no one in the deep middle of the field.
Puts it on his head.
Nice touch on this. Let it rip. Puts it right on the defender's helmet. Hunter Henry with a great adjustment. Makes the contested catch. Fights through two different defenders. Tries to turn ahead for some extra yardage. That was one of my favorite plays of the game. This is when I think everyone was like, oh, shit. All right. Like, we got something going. Let's keep it going. That's exactly what they did because on the very next play, after a 32-yard gain, Drake Maye said, I want a little bit more. So we have a 30.
They go hurry up too here, don't they? They get to the line pretty quick and run, right? Yeah.
They did a better job using tempo on this drive, which actually, I'm glad you pointed that out, is one thing I'd probably like to see more from them, especially with Drake, because he mentioned last week that the 2-minute drill is kind of better for quarterbacks because you have more answers, there's pace, and really for anybody, you understand that the defense can only do so much when you're not huddling, because one, they can't substitute. That's the obvious advantage, but also it simplifies coverages because you can't run these exotic blitz schemes most of the time if you're literally just on the fly and everyone's trying to get each other sorted out. It's like, do we want to disguise and confuse him and risk the idea that maybe someone's going to be completely out of space? Or do we just play cover 2, cover 1, and know that we're at least going to be structurally sound? I think that's part of this play. Here, you're going to get man coverage from Kayshon Boutte one-on-one. Another thing I like about this play, you see the condensed formation, right? Instead of the spread where you have these guys trying to win outside the numbers one-on-one with minimal space, here, these guys have the entire field to work with, and Kayshon Boutte is going to capitalize. Now, when Drake Maye initially gets to the top of his drop, he sees, hey, my guy's even. And what do we say, Mike?
If he's leaving, he's leaving.
He's leaving, baby. And not only that, but he's actually once again going to have Josh Hines-Allen bearing down on him after a loss from DeMontre Jacobs. He don't care. I will say, one, great assist here from Michael Jordan, identifying the rush and trying to get over there to help. But Drake Maye doesn't necessarily know that he's not going to get hit here. All he knows is I've got a rusher who might give me a pretty big hit before I let this go. Again, doesn't care, lets it go. Again, Kayshon Boutte is still even with his defender. Drake Maye puts it out in front. Not perfect. Like at first I called this a dime. It's not a dime because if it were, he would catch it obviously in the bucket in stride and still be able to run, but still puts it out in front of his receiver so the defender can't make a play on this. Kayshon Boutte with the strong hands brings it in for another huge gain on back-to-back plays.
Still throwing him open there too, which is massive. And one thing I want to add to that too is that the bomb for a touchdown last week to Boutte, I thought Boutte had a tough time. We talk about the red line, right, and how he stayed on the red line. And Aaron Rodgers mentioned it too with the play with Mike Williams. And that's basically the between the numbers and the sideline where these guys can run down it and leave themselves space, leave the quarterback space to the sideline to make the throw. And I thought Boutte had a tough time staying down the red line last week, but Maye was still able to throw him open for the touchdown, where here they use that condensed formation. So Boutte has enough space to still make it work, and he's not condensed there. He can run outside and still leave Drake Maye plenty of space. So I thought that was a good play call in the way they designed it there as well.
And also the kind of thing where you'd like to see maybe Jalen Pope, as long as he's still playing, and they don't kind of maybe bench him for a little while. I'd like to see more opportunities for him in these kinds of looks where I understand you think that he's best suited as X, or you just like Kayshon Boutte at Z better because he's been more productive and that's a bigger role in your offense. I totally get that. But if you're going to get Polk involved, at least try. And they did, like on the bootleg, he's in a condensed formation. He has space, just not a great deal from his quarterback. But I'd like to see him get more opportunities in spaces where he thrives. Now, this one was confusing to me. At the time, I thought it was just a complete miss, right? I thought that I was like, I don't know where this ball's going. Drake Maye has those like once or twice a week where he lets it go and it goes somewhere and you're like, I don't even know if he was throwing to a receiver or what. So I actually think on this play, he's trying to put this back shoulder to Hooper because as you can see, this defender, this cloud defender is covering Kendrick Bourne, but Drake Maye has a pretty good understanding of underneath defenders still being able to buzz under routes. And he doesn't have a ton of ground to cover. If Drake Maye decides, you know what, I'm going to put this to where Austin Hooper is going and try to hit him on the sideline. You also have this defender covering the inside, and the safety has the ability to break down on the route. So I think what he's doing is trying to throw this, again, to Hooper's back shoulder right here. So like when he turns, maybe as he's releasing and he looks at the quarterback, he spins and catches it off his back, and then also follows and protects him from contact. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And I don't mean to cut off your train of thought here, but did you see the clip of Kyle Rudolph talking about playing with Tom Brady the other day?
How he was just like, yeah, get open and I'll throw it.
Instead of running to space and Hooper is supposed to be at 12 yards, get to the sideline, Tom Brady is going to say, he's open right now. I'm throwing it to you right now. I don't care what happens. So maybe Maye's trying to do that type of thing where he's open. I'm just going to put it on him right now.
That's exactly what I thought, because this feels like a textbook kind of route. But like you said, when you feel like, and it's hard because Hooper's a veteran as well. And I don't want to nitpick too much because I don't know for sure. Yeah. But it does have that feel to it where like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are like the example where you see this with them with corner routes all the time. Half the time, you don't even know for sure what route Kelce's running because he'll do that where if he sees, okay, it's a split safety coverage, they're in cover 2, I'm running a corner. Rather than running into coverage, I'm going to throttle down a little bit knowing that, Pat's probably going to hit me.
Right.
And I think that's what Drake is trying to do here, but they're clearly not on the same page because look where the ball is.
Yeah, right.
It's not like this isn't I don't think this is inaccurate because it wouldn't even make sense for him to put it here when you're trying to. And again, I understand he has wonky throws,
Sure,
but this wouldn't even really to make sense to me. I'd like to ask him, whenever we get a chance to speak to him. But yeah, I just thought this was kind of a wonky one. I believe I have the end zone angle here. Yeah, because it gives you a slightly better perspective on where this ball ends up. Like you see, okay, so you can't go too far behind because that defender's there. You don't really want to throw in front because that guy's right there. Like he would have been able to buzz under it. This is in perfectly between those three defenders.
Where Hooper was originally open. It's almost like turn around now, spot throw. I'm going to catch it right here. It's a lot of times where you see in like the Dolphins offense where Tua's throwing to a spot, right? And some of his throws look insanely inaccurate and like, what is this guy doing? But he's throwing somewhere and the receiver's just not there. And it's the right throw, but it doesn't time up at the same time. I feel like that's what this is more so than an inaccurate ball.
100%. Again, that's why I corrected myself because obviously it's still a turnover-worthy play.
Right.
They got to get this figured out. But yeah, it was just an odd play where I'm like, I think that has more to do with chemistry than anything else. But once again, you cannot give Drake Maye too many opportunities.
Nope.
A 3rd and 15 in the red zone. This should be an automatic loss for the offense, right? Most times you're just saying, let's get some good yardage, give our kicker the best opportunity. But Alex Van Pelt knows he has Drake Maye. And actually, it's kind of similar to the play that we saw earlier where they're attacked the middle of the field. But this is actually the same play that we saw on 3rd down before halftime when the Patriots had another, I think it was a 3rd and 15 situation, and really just wanted to get it, or it was a 3rd and long and just wanted to get a completion to keep the clock running on what I didn't love the play calling on that drive, but it's preference at this point. Honestly, I'm kind of over it, like critiquing them in the end of halves. Like they want to score. They weren't getting the ball at the second half. Whatever, man. That's your choice. As long as it doesn't blow up in your face, like, best of luck to you.
Right.
But here, we're going to see that the last time he hit Hunter Henry right over the middle, had pressure quickly and didn't have time to hit Pop, who was in the slot. Another way that we know for a fact that we already kind of knew during the game, but that KJ was going in for Pop because DeMario Douglas was starting to get over the defense, but he didn't have time and just let it go. Here, he's going to have the time and he's going to make the throw. All right, so we got the 3-by-1. And you're going to see this Tampa defender, so it's Tampa 2, where that middle linebacker is just trying to get as much depth as he can and cover that number 3. But offenses know this. So Hunter Henry's running a sit, but really he's just trying to suck up coverage and make sure that linebacker can't keep getting depth and maybe interfere with KJ Osborne's route. You're also going to see that the zone defender who's in Osborne's area is looking at Drake Maye. And he's flat-footed. So Drake Maye's like, he's not going to be able to get over the top. And this safety is in a deep half.
Yep.
If it was quarters, it'd be one thing. He would have inside leverage, but he's going to the outside, right? And this is a verticals concept, so he still has to respect the possibility that this outside most receiver, I think it's Booty, is going to go vertical. So, again, Drake Maye knows with this guy flat-footed, KJ Osborne's going to be right behind him. You're going to see another anticipatory throw. Osborne hasn't even cleared the defender yet. He's not looking at the quarterback yet. Drake Maye going to put touch on this, kind of throw in the area where the safety is right now. Right. Again, understanding how the coverage is first and where his receiver is going to be. Beautiful ball, puts it low to potentially protect his player. Also, just enough touch to get over those defenders, but not so much. Obviously, that, like what we saw with Polk, where on that touchdown or a near touchdown against the Dolphins, where he has to go up and get it. Beautiful, beautiful touch on this ball from Drake Maye.
Someone was in my DMs today, Taylor, and I didn't. Not my DMs, my mentions. I tweeted that clip from the end zone angle and said he said it's not a touch throw because it was on a rope, and I was like, it can still be a fast throw, and you still have touch on it going over the backers and under the safeties like that.
And it's on a rope. That's like what's really impressive.
That's a touch throw. I'm sorry, dude. You may not know ball, but I was annoyed, but I didn't end up answering the guy. But yeah, no, a great throw. I like the anticipation too, and it's sort of similar to the Henry play where he throws it to a spot where KJ is going to be open, right? He puts it in front of the safety behind the backers. Nice throw. KJ goes under it. I don't think a lot of people did, but you could look at that and say that he's going down, falling to the ground to catch it. It's not an accurate ball, but that's exactly where that's supposed to be to like you said, protect Osborne and also keep him in space and have him be wide open. So great throw, touchdown. Drake Maye looks good again there.
And there is one more throw on this drive. I'll just throw it in here. It's not a whole lot to break down. It's the whip route where Drake Maye threw a good ball, and unfortunately Jalen Polk wound up on the ground, and this put them in an even tougher spot. Now, the defender is not going to be able to cover this. Like, no one in this position is going to be able to cover a whip route. Drake Maye knows that. He's like, all right, I'm ready to throw.
Yep.
As he's letting the ball go, Jalen Polk is falling to the ground. So there's really not a whole lot Drake can do here. And then you see both of them. I'm not trying to make fun of Polk right here. I just think this is objectively funny that they realize what a big missed opportunity that was.
And Polk's having a tough time.
The defender knows that he lost. Like, look at how he responds. This is a defender who knows he got lucky.
Yep.
He knows he got lucky. Like, that's a clap where it's like, whoo! Yeah.
Polk's having a tough time right now, as we know, with the drops and everything and this and that. And I will say that surface we saw at pregame where Drake was falling around all the time and people were slipping and sliding. I don't put that entirely on Jalen Polk. I mean, yeah, you need to be able to run your routes in tough conditions, just like any wide receiver, but field wasn't in great shape either. It's just tough that it has to be him who's already going through all of this stuff and these mental hurdles, as Gerard Mayo called it. So, Taylor, those are the 3 scoring drives. I know you also have a quick compilation of some things of Drake Maye where he can improve, because it looks great. No turnovers. The turnover-worthy play, obviously, to Austin Hooper, but a solid showing from Maye overall. But what can he do to improve his game as he continues forward throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, I'm just going to run this because it's really the inaccuracy. Now, there were the sacks where the offensive line wasn't credited with either one of the 2 sacks that Drake Maye took. Both of them seemed like he was trying to go through the wrong escape hatch pretty much, and that really was what it came down to for me. But you see it here. A lot of, especially the in-breaking throws, tend to be either wide or behind. And then some of the throws that were outside were like the one to Jalen Polk that you mentioned, like there, where he throws, it's not even a terrible, terrible ball. And I like that he's at least attempting this. He recognizes, oh, they split off from a single high defense into a split safety coverage. I'm going to have this whole shot opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You'd like to see him obviously put this with touch towards the sideline instead of kind of leading the receiver up the field and inside where, Polk has to kind of drift and find that. I know you could argue maybe he could have attacked it better, but there was another one to DeMario Douglas. This might be it. Where another one, high, has to come back inside and gets hit. Those are the kind of throws you saw in college where there were few times, like a couple times a game, where sometimes he would end up getting his receiver hit unnecessarily or force him to make some crazy catch because he was inaccurate. Now, again, you mix these in with all the positives, it creates a picture of, okay, this kid's clearly going to be better. Everybody has some issues. The accuracy for him, the level of inconsistency and the way he misses are not normal for an NFL quarterback. And that's why guys like JT O'Sullivan, Chris Sims, it's why guys who play the position especially were hard on him coming out. And I completely understand that. But again, at the end of the day, when you look at a lot of these missed opportunities, it's not, oh, Drake Maye has to be better. Like, he's the reason. A lot of it is, the defense needs to be better. The receivers sometimes need to make some of these tough catches. And, for a rookie especially, the expectation is the veterans and the older guys and the guys who are supposed to have great hands are going to usually help kind of minimize that margin for error, because Drake Maye obviously increases your margin for error. Totally. This was the first game all season the Patriots had a knockdown rate below 12%. I think it was like 7.5. Their pressure rate was the lowest it's been all season. For the second week in a row, it was under 40%. That hadn't happened all season. Drake Maye, like we've been saying he would, even when we weren't sure if he was ready to play, does make it easier on your offense because he can extend plays. He has a better idea of timing of when to get the ball out. He's shown that, and I think it's very advanced for a rookie. But it's these throws where you need to give your receivers the opportunity to catch the ball and then run with it after. You need to make sure that you're not putting them in situations where they can take hits. Like, I know Borish mentioned this on Twitter. There's a chance Jalen Polk had a concussion after the hit that he took on the sideline. And I don't want to speculate or anything, but he does take a hit to the helmet. Should have been a flag also. We don't have to talk about that. These Patriots rookies are not getting any love when it comes to the officials. But yeah, bottom line with Drake Maye, have a better understanding of where the proper escape hatches are. It's bang, bang. I get it. Some of that comes with experience. But yeah, the accuracy just needs to be more consistent because he's leaving a lot of meat on the bone. Yeah. If he's hitting guys in stride and, again, not having these high misses inside to outside throws, I think you're going to see these guys can be really, really tough to contend with, even as an offense that has a tendency to shoot itself in the foot.
Yeah, it's funny. They only score 16 points, right? And there's a ton of misses here that you just showed, and there's room to improve, obviously. But it's crazy how the narrative and the topics, I guess, and the storyline surrounding this team, how quickly it went from the offense stinks, the offensive line is terrible, the wide receivers can't do anything, to, oh, the offense might have something here, and the defense now stinks, and it's basically all because of Drake Maye, right? And now the offensive line, yes, it's because Maye can, extend plays and make them look a little bit better, but it's also because they found a little bit more continuity, right? Where Ben Brown looks really good up front, down the middle. Their tackles are playing better and their guards are getting healthy. And obviously Layden Robinson goes down and they're probably going to end up with yet another offensive line combination to start next week. But overall, getting better, and Drake Maye has been a major part of it. So anything else? We're good to go.
We're good to go, baby.
That was good. Good stuff. Long enough. Love it. Drake Maye's performance against the Jaguars. He goes 26 of 37, completing over 70% of his passes for 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Couple turnover-worthy plays. We explain them all in this film room. So if you didn't check out the whole thing, make sure you watch from the start. We'll be back breaking down Drake Maye as the weeks go on. We'll also be back throughout the rest of the week as the Patriots get ready to take on the Jets next Sunday coming up in Foxborough. So keep it here on Patriots Press Pass for all of your Patriots coverage. Rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Like this video. And until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you next time. Peace out, everyone.